wild, man. That was some crazy shit, dude. Austin.
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, man, what the fuck is going on, dude? We just got done blasting.
Not so much, man. I'm currently going through a crazy Northern California wind and snowstorm right now.
What the fuck? Wind and snowstorm in Northern California?
Yeah, man, it's gnarly. In fact, I made this, was able to take this call just by the skin of my teeth. I had to leave my house because the power completely cut out. The house was filling up with smoke because the wind was blowing so hard. It was blowing the smoke in from the fireplace. And luckily, my girlfriend has a house in a safer location down in town. So made it here, and here I am.
Holy shit, man. That's crazy, dude. Well, fucking, well, what else is crazy is your music, man. Like, this shit is fucking insane. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing, man? It's just, it's total fucking, just, it's insane. When I'm listening
right
to
on,
it,
man.
yeah, we just got done blasting Blood Gift. And,
yeah, that's a fun one.
yeah, man, I just grabbed that record off Bandcamp, dude. Fucking Bandcamp Friday, motherfuckers. Go out there and grab that shit, man. But yeah, dude, fucking that's some fucking insane fucking stuff, man. Like, those riffs, I don't even know what the fuck you guys are doing, man. It's just like, it's just all over the place, man. It's just nuts. So, like,
well, me and my drummer, we took a lot of acid in high school, and
yeah,
there was some weird shit that came out of it. That's for damn sure.
hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, man. That, you know what? Now that you say that, like, yeah, I can only imagine. I bet tripping and listening to that would be insane, man.
Yeah, and it's we're kind of a musical oddity where we're from too. Up in Northern California, we're in the middle of the redwoods from a little small town.
Nice.
Originally formed in a place called Laytonville, which is really just in the middle of nowhere, and all the music out here is like folk and, Celtic rock and hippy dippy reggae kind of stuff, which I'm cool with too, but as far as music goes and, musicians out here, we're pretty much the oddballs here. Nobody really understands us locally here.
So you guys are in Sons of Anarchy fucking country, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
what is? Am I right? Is that's the area that they based that on, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some Hell's Angels roll through this area before, and a couple other motorcycle clubs. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's going on out here. That's for sure.
Man, I loved that show, dude. God, man, I wish they would bring that back. I don't know how, but
Yeah.
it would be cool, man. Just make it happen. But yeah.
Hell yeah.
So tell us, give us a brief history about the band. Like, how long you guys been doing this, and how did you get started, and everything,
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, we've been around probably, I'm gonna say 23 years now. Me and my drummer, we met in high school in band class. I had moved up to Laytonville, California, all the way from Los Angeles, which was a huge culture shock for me, and growing up as a kid in Los Angeles, I was going to, some of those early Discord shows and another band called Sepsism, and really just experiencing the super underground death metal scene down there as a young kid. And so when I moved up north, I brought that musical taste with me, but nobody was into it up here. I really didn't know anybody into that kind of stuff. So anyways, I met Luke, my drummer, in high school band class, and he had played, at the time he was playing in a punk rock band, and didn't know anything really about, technical death metal or anything like that. He had maybe heard little things here and there, maybe some Morbid Angel or something, but certainly wasn't playing that kind of style yet as far as drums go. And so, I started giving him, I remember I would trade him cassette tapes for weed. So I was I was into smoking weed, and he had lots of weed, and he was like, "Hey man, what's up with that Deeds of Flesh tape?" So I'd trade him a couple tapes, and he'd give me a bunch of weed, and so we just started trading musical styles with each other and stuff, and showing each other bands. He was showing me the punk rock side, I was showing him the death metal side of things, and next thing you know, man, we're jamming together, and formed our first kind of prequel to Embryonic Devourment. We called it Blue Puke at the time. And then that later on, after we gained another member, his name was Lauren. He was another transplant that moved out from Michigan, and he was into the death metal stuff. And it just kind of seemed like fate that the three of us kind of came together in this little small town. So we formed a band out of Blue Puke, and that was called Ye Old Scabbard. We were based about, we were singing about pirates and traveling the open seas in the old time days. And then, just things started progressing musically, and getting more technical and getting more progressive, and eventually just saying, screw this, we just want to be ultimate brutal, death metal in your face. And so with that came another name change, and we were doing acid and mushrooms one night hanging out, and this hippie dude that we were hanging out with was like, "Dude, what would be the sickest name for a death metal band?" And he was just kind of like halfway joking. He's like, "Imagine this, dude, Embryonic Devourment." And we were all like, super high, and we're like, "Dude, that would be sick."
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it started right there, man.
That's a cool story, man. I always love it when something comes out of the mushroom fucking trip, because that's a whole nother level right there, man.
Yeah, it is, man. We definitely did our experimentation, and I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but musically, for the artistic side of our brain, it seemed to have worked out.
Yeah, it works, man. And it's funny you mentioned Disgorged. Somebody in the chat room, Carl, was just asking me to ask you if you guys were fans of Disgorged.
Yeah, man. I'm a super huge fan of Disgorged. I saw them play some shows when I was probably, I want to say 14. And at the time, I was dabbling around with some other musicians down there in LA. But we were, our favorite band at the time was Metallica, which is also a great band, yeah, especially for those days. But, when we heard Disgorge, we're just like, oh, man, Metallica, that just goes out the window, man. I mean, it's like we saw those guys play, and we're just like, all right, band meeting.
Yeah. It's funny, and I tell everybody this, man, but I've interviewed fucking hundreds of bands, man. And always, I would say 99% of the time, unless they're like really, really old, that's Metallica is always listed in there as far as one of the influences, man. And I think, it's just, they were for our generation, I'm 46.
Hell
man.
yeah.
And yeah, man, I remember, dude, I mean, fuck,
Yeah, I'm 43. Yeah. So, I was, when I heard "And Justice for All" by Metallica,
yeah,
man, I mean, that was I knew at that point, I was like, all right, these guys are badass. I want to be a badass. Shining beacon was Metallica, man.
All we had back then was fucking MTV and shit, man. And all they were playing was Motley Crue and Poison and shit like that. And I remember when they on the countdown they had the Dial MTV thing on Friday, and I would watch that. And I remember watching all those videos, all those hair metal bands, and I was into all that stuff too. But then the first time when it premiered, it came on at number 1, man. So many people called in for the song "One" for the video, and it came on, and I watched that, and I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, because it was
man.
black and white. They're pissed off looking. It's heavy. They're headbanging. I'm like, oh man, like immediately ran to the record store, bought that shit, and then, you know, after that, Slayer, fucking Sepultura, Obituary, Deicide, all that stuff, you know, just flooding in, man.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing about, you know, me and you's, you know, age is that, you know, we had to make that progression, you know, from Metallica into the heavier shit. Now, you know, you have kids that are just like right away, they're like, boom, they're into Deicide or you know, something like that, and they're able to bypass, you know, Metallica and Black Sabbath and things like that, you know, because the internet's here and they're just boom straight to the Cannibal Corpse, you know. They don't understand, you know, the steps leading into that, you know.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Yeah, you know, I remember during that time, during those years, we lived in Maryland, and there was a college radio station that actually became an FM radio station called The Underground, and they just played all kinds of. There's just a bunch of metalheads that were running it, so they were just playing everything, like, you know, and there was, you know, of course there was the normal shit that you would hear on rock radio, but like they would throw in Exodus and King Diamond and fucking Deicide, Sepultura and stuff like that, and I would hear all this shit, and I remember just tripping the fuck out, just tape recording everything, man, you know, like.
Hell yeah.
I remember they had Max Cavalera from Sepultura on there do like some kind of intro or radio interview or something, and hearing his accent and being like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even realize that they were from a different country, and, you know, like, but yeah, man, all that shit, like, back then, that's all we had, man. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of this shit, you know, like, I had a few.
Oh yeah, Sepultura back then, man. I mean, finding Sepultura, to me, I thought that was extreme brutal death metal.
It was,
you know, when I first heard it. You know, I'd never heard anything like that, man. When I heard the Arise album by Sepultura, I was like, holy shit, this is so fast. Those vocals are so gruff, you know. It's just incredible for me.
They would play that cover that they did of Orgasmatron for Motorhead on there, man, and the way that fucking song starts off with he's dive bombing the fucking whammy bar, it's just so fucking heavy, and I was like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, that's, yeah, immediately fucking playing air guitar, jumping off my bed, fucking making.
It sounds like me, man. Jumping off my bed, playing air guitar, totally.
Yeah. I wanted to have a guitar so bad that what I would do is I would take the cardboard boxes that we had left over from moving, and I would draw like life-size guitars on them, and then cut them out and color them in and shit, and like,
oh wow,
use those for fucking playing air guitar, so I could actually have something like a prop, you know. And it got ridiculous.
Badass,
I remember, like, it got ridiculous though, dude. Like, I had a stack of them under my bed that was so high that you could barely even fit them under there, man, because there was so many, all the different.
Like,
shapes,
I'm gonna pull out the V today.
Yeah, Warlocks, V's, fucking Explorers, everything, man. And my mom, she was like, okay, let's take you to the store. And I remember one year for my birthday, she took me to the music store, and I got to get a guitar, and it was just that was it right there, man.
Wow, man, what a good mom.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Cheers to her. That is awesome. I always I have a lot of respect for parents that, you know, support their kids in music like that, man. That's super important.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I didn't have an amp at first. I remember plugging into my to the mic input on my record player, and there's like, you know, there's no distortion, man. It's like, you know, you're trying to figure it out. You're like, why doesn't this sound like fucking metal? It's not right. And then you figure out, then you learn, you know, and you're like, oh, you got to get a distortion pedal, you got to get an amp and stuff. And I got got some different stuff put together, and. But yeah, man, fucking hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the another band that I got to give a shout out to on top of Metallica was Suicidal Tendencies. That was
Oh
another
yeah.
one that, it's like when I heard, just some of the shit they were talking about, man, I was just like, oh, dude, this is heavy. And that, my
Join the
mom is
army.
supportive. Yeah, and as supportive as my mom was, even she knew, she's like, okay, this is some bad music. What is my kid getting into here? So I knew right away. I was like, man, this stuff is the shit. When your parents are trying to throw away those cassette tapes, you're onto something.
Yeah, my favorite Suicidal Tendencies album was Lights Camera Revolution. Man, that fucking record, dude.
Oh yeah.
The guitar playing on that is just, that guy's like super underrated, man. Like I don't understand why he doesn't get more praise than he does, man. Because that's some insane shit. But
Oh yeah. No, that he was ahead of his time, man. That shit's off the hook.
yeah, those guys are awesome, man. And I'm sure out there in California too. Probably it's like a big thing too, right? Because they're
Oh yeah, man. Suicidal tendencies they're huge out here, man. They got their whole, I want to call it like a crew, it's like a gang, the suicidals, I mean, they're hardcore, man. They don't fuck around, and they're badass.
that's another thing, I think about too sometimes. Like the local scenes. They're so different in different areas of the country. But like when I was in high school, we moved out to Arizona, and I was going to high school in Phoenix, and then I got into the scene there, and that's when Megadeth was living there, and Slayer, and Sepultura, all those guys. And when they would play shows there, we used to go to those shows, and it was fucking huge. Like people really got excited about it, but there was like something special about it because they were like the local bands to that area at the time, like, so it was like, I don't know, sometimes whenever that stuff comes on the radio and I listen to it or I play it here, I'm like, yeah, there's just something about it that
Yeah, I agree, man.
every
We had to look in the thanks list of the cassette tapes, to find bands back then. It wasn't so easy where you could just go on YouTube and find band after band. It's like we had to really search and look for those releases, man. It was very, very tough to find something cool back then. And when you did, it was such a special hidden gem, and you
yeah, oh
make
yeah.
copies for your friends and shit, look what I found, man. You ditch school just to fucking, take the day off and listen to that.
I was, yeah, I was one of those kids too, man. I always read through the liner notes at the back of the tape and the CD or record, whatever I had, and looked at that stuff, to see who they're thanking, because that's where you got led to another road to check out more different bands. And since I've gotten into this radio thing and I've been doing this for years, man, there's been quite a few records that have come out where my name and Metal Devastation Radio has actually been mentioned in the fucking liner notes, and that trips me the fuck out, dude. Every time I see it,
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's rad,
what the
man.
fuck, man? Are you kidding me, man? Like, if you would have told me that when I was a kid, when I was that little kid sitting there on my bed listening to that shit and looking at that, like, I would have been like, what the, there's no way, man. But
That's too cool,
it's,
dude. I
yeah.
love that. Yeah, I mean, I've even heard the word on the street about you, man. I mean, you're definitely making your rounds, bro.
That trips me out, man. That's fucking crazy, dude. I mean, yeah, it never gets old, dude. But anyway, man, back to the music, dude. Tell us about these songs, man. Like, what kind of stuff are you guys talking about in the lyrics and shit on this?
Well, it's trippy because what we talk about, you you have your bands that are, the bands that talk about warfare, and there's the bands that are gore inspired, like say Cannibal Corpse, and then you've got some, you got all the Satan bands, and that's all that stuff is killer and great, and with Embryonic Devourment, we wanted to have a sort of like our own thing, and we're like, hey, let's and even in our early days, that's why we were talking about pirates and sailing the seas, because to us, we're like, hey, there's not many bands talking about pirates, maybe there is now, but at that time, we're like, yeah, let's form a metal band. We'll be pirates and we'll talk about pirates. So that whole concept idea transferred into Embryonic Devourment, and what we sing about is a reptilian race from a planet called Nibiru. Some of these reptilians, we believe, even live inside the earth. People might refer to them as aliens or whatever, and there's many different species of aliens. Us in particular, we sing specifically about this reptilian race. And if you look at, the Egyptians or the Mayans or Asian cultures or even out in Australia, all the various different religions, there's always this lizard, serpent, snake that pops up in religions all across the world, in every culture, really. And even in the Bible, man, you got the snake in the tree. This serpent character is constantly popping up everywhere, and we think it has to do with these alien reptilian beings. And I read this book called The Biggest Secret by a guy named David Icke when we were first kind of forming Embryonic Devourment, and that was really influential on me lyrically. And so we decided to base the whole entire band on it, and for the past 6 or 7 releases, that's what we've been singing about, is this reptilian conspiracy, and how these things have been manipulating or possibly helping mankind, since the dawn of mankind, and we've gone into depth about it quite a bit. In fact, so much that we've got a little bit of buzz going about it, enough to alert David Icke, the guy that wrote this book.
That's awesome.
And a little while ago, he actually contacted us and was like, hey, do you want to come to hear me speak and meet up and chat? And of course I was like, fuck yeah, and so yeah, we got to meet him, and I showed him some of the lyrics, and he gave me his full on basically blessing to keep doing what we're doing. He's like, run with it, man. You have my blessing. So when I heard that, when I heard him say that, I was like, man, not only are we the reptilian death metal band, but now we got David Icke's blessing to do it, man. We're like, we're in, man. We are the fucking reptilian death metal band, sanctioned by David Icke himself, so
full circle, dude.
Yeah, man, really, really cool. And there's all kinds of different belief systems, and some people want to believe that Jesus walked on water and could turn water into wine, and that's cool, and if they want to believe that, that's great, and I can believe that reptilians are here manipulating mankind from a planet far beyond our galaxy. Hell, why the hell not,
Dude, I'm all for it, man. I'm all about the fucking alien shit. I'm all about that stuff, man. I go down so many wormholes and all that kind of shit. I love all that stuff, dude. You're talking to me right now, man.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah. So that's our thing, man, and we want to be we don't mind being referred to as the crackpots of death metal. We're the weird ones, man. And that's the direction we want to go. And I'm even planning on taking it even further into the future. I'm writing a book right now, actually, based around this whole concept. And it's going to tie into the band and everything. And yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that show Ancient Aliens came out, and I got into that, and I went and looked up Eric von Daniken, grabbed his book, Chariots of the Gods, man. That's a
Hell
killer.
yeah.
That's a killer book too, man. Because
It's a great book. Yeah.
I love how it, like, the whole entire book is nothing but questions. You know, like he everything he writes in there is just like everything is just a question. You know, so it's like he's not saying, you know, it's just he's asking you to question, you know, to think about it, and that's really cool, man. Because that's what people should do. You know, think about shit.
That's what they should do. I agree, man. You know, if anything, it's good to just be open-minded and ask those kind of questions. You know, it's okay to be open-minded, and if, you know, people want to ridicule that, that's fine. But, you know, I just consider myself open-minded, open to possibilities. And I mean, shit, there's more, you know, stars and planets out there than there probably are grains of sand on this earth, you know, and it's barely the tip of the iceberg on that has been explored. So, you know, and they're releasing more and more information all the time right now. I'm actually looking like less and less of a crackpot these days because, you know, even now you have government officials and military officials that are releasing this stuff, you know, and they're talking about it. It's coming out. It's slowly being disclosed, you know, so it's out there, man.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally. You know, that was one of the things about your album cover that drew me in right away. I was like, oh, shit, fucking Reptile, man. Like, these guys are they're into some shit right here, man. I know it. But I wanted to wait. I wanted to wait till I talked to you, you know, to figure it out for sure. But yeah, you're right on the money, man.
Yeah, that album that you got, I believe you got, it must be Reptilian Agenda if you're listening to Blood Gift. Yeah. And, yeah, that one right there, man. I definitely I wanted to create something to where when you look at that album cover and you read the lyrics, you're like, oh shit, I get it. Here's what these guys are all about, you know. And David Icke even made he did a book or a lecture, I mean, called The Reptilian Agenda. So I wanted to call our album Reptilian Agenda, and that's where we got his attention. Because, of course, you know, it started linking up on internet searches. When you look up Reptilian Agenda, you see David Icke, and then next to it, you see Embryonic Devourment. So, of course, we grabbed his attention right away.
That's badass.
And, yeah, man.
Yeah, and then, you know what? That works, too. That helps out for marketing and promotion and stuff, too, you know, because that's... search engine SEO, man, that's a big part of it right there. You know, just getting into the Google fucking world of things, man. It's definitely, you know, that doesn't hurt, man.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, with our last album, there's it's called Heresy of the Highest Order. Kind of along those same lines too, even delving further into it, you know, with some of these key elite leaders of our country, you know, indulging in these, you know, adrenochrome blood rituals, you know, people like, yeah. You know, Jeffrey Epstein facilitating all of this, you know. I mean, these motherfuckers they're crazy, you know, and I mean, just look at the state of the world. We already know they're crazy. So,
yeah,
you can only imagine what goes on behind closed doors, you know, with the MK Ultra and mind control and all this weird, you know, twisted shit. And, you know, we've definitely, you know, if you look up our song Kathy O'Brien on YouTube, you'll see all these comments on there, man, from just these twisted people that just are so pissed off and berserk about us releasing this information, man. And you know, we're blowing the lid off of it. You know, there's people blowing the lid off of it all over the world, really, through different avenues and different streams. But what we're doing is blowing the lid off of it in the death metal world, you know. And so yeah, it's really trippy to see people's reaction on it.
That reminds me of a podcast that I listen to quite a bit. The Last Podcast on the Left. They have some pretty cool...
I love that show.
Yeah, they have some pretty cool episodes. They have one that's called The Satanic Government, which goes into like way in depth about some shit like what you're talking about. And yeah, they're like, you know, this is not like the Satanism that we, you know, we're like, because they're always like, hail Satan, you know, but like they're like, no, this is different. It's totally
Yeah, it's
different
like
thing.
Luciferian, fucking hardcore, fucking like.
Yeah, it's some
Yeah,
wild shit, man.
it's some weird shit, man.
Yeah, there's too much evidence out there for it to not be fucking thought about or talked about or researched at least, you know, like people need to ask questions, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree definitely. And yeah, if anything, you know, it's good realistic subject matter for us to be able to write about, you know, picking some of these things that may be happening, and you know, it can be political, it can be alien conspiracy, it can be, you know, whatever you want to make of it. But it's definitely some interesting subject matter.
Hell yeah. Well, what do you guys have coming next, man? I know you just released a rehearsal tape on
Yep.
Bandcamp recently as well, man. But what else? What kind of things do you guys have up your sleeve, man? Like what's coming next for you guys?
Yeah, man. So I'm working on song 4 right now towards a brand new release, and it's heavy, dude. I mean, this is like the culmination of everything we've done, you know, up to this point. I always try to, you know, me and my drummer Luke and the other guy we work with, Ben, you know, we're always talking about outdoing ourselves, you know, and I think that, you know, with each release we outdo the previous, and so it gets tougher and tougher and tougher because, you know, you have to outdo these brutal albums that you put everything into, you know. But I can definitely say, man, I'm into song 4 towards writing this new stuff, and it is mind-blowingly fucking cool. I mean, I you know, play it at home, you know, from the 4 tracks that I have recorded so far, and it's just like, even myself, I just sit back and I'm like, wow, man, I cannot believe this is what's coming out of us right now. I mean, it's really cool, man. It's very, you know, it's like, it's hallucinogenic almost, in my opinion, you know, but very technical and extreme at the same time.
That's cool, man.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I got an album title in mind, and I'll just go ahead and say what I think the album title may possibly be. I haven't said this really to anybody, but I think I'm going to call it Ophiolatric Rituals of the Elite. And
nice.
Ophiolatry is a word that I found, which basically means worship of the serpents. A lot of the old ancient religions practiced that, Ophiolatry, which was worship of the serpents. And so yeah, Ophiolatric Rituals of the Elite is what I'm thinking of calling it.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Well, we can't wait to hear more fucking shit from you guys for sure, man. What about live dates or anything like that? You guys got any shows coming up?
Well, we just played with Vader and Origin at the DNA last weekend, man, and it was fucking heavy. In fact,
Inhuman Condition was there too, right?
Yeah, man. Terry Butler from Obituary, man.
Dude.
He was in the band, you know, and I walked up to him and, you know, shook his hand, and I was like, man, Terry, like, I just got to let you know, man, I've been listening to you since I was like 14, 15 years old, dude. He got a kick out of that, you know, had a big laugh, man. And it was just such a moment for me to play our set and then have Terry come up and be like, man, I really liked you guys. You know, you guys are a kick-ass band, and really dug your guys' set. And to me, I mean, that was just mind-blowing for me, because I think the world of him, and, you know, everything he's done and influenced me on, you know, is just crazy, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we're talking about it's just in talks right now. It may or may not possibly happen, but thinking about hitting the road in June with another band called Malignancy.
Yes.
Which is a really heavy death metal band. It's just in talks right now. But yeah, we're hoping that we can put that together. So yeah, we'll probably do 2 weeks on the road with those guys. We toured all over Europe with those dudes. Really great fucking guys, and had some awesome memories with them. And yeah, now we can do the US version, we're hoping.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Well, dude, I'm about out of questions for you. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's interested in hearing our stuff or obtaining merch, go to www.embryonicdevourmentband.com. We've got a whole section of merch there. We've probably got about 30 items deep worth of t-shirts and sweatpants, and then we've got a bunch of albums on there. And you order something, I always like to include something extra. I'll always send you an extra goodie that you wouldn't expect. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, before I let you go, can I get you to make us a station tag real quick?
Absolutely, brother.
All right, man. Whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Embryonic Devourment, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
This is Austin from the band Embryonic Devourment, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Fuck yeah, man. Badass. All right, man. Well,
oh yeah, brother. Thanks for taking interest in interviewing us, man. And
of course,
I'm gonna be returning the favor as soon as I can, man. We wanna get at you with some kind of promotion campaign soon. So
thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Hey, man. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna blast some more Embryonic Devourment for these motherfuckers, so they can go crazy. All right.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, dude.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later, dude.
Hell yeah, later, Zach.
Cheers.
Later, bro.
There you have it, folks. Embryonic Devourment live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, man, put your speakers in your fucking windows. Put them in your front lawns. Put them in your neighbor's driveway. If you got speaker cable long enough, drag your speakers outside your house and go put them in front of your fucking neighbor's house and blast this shit. If you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere tomorrow, what the fuck are you even here for, man? Come on. Crank it the fuck up loud as a fuck.